boys and girls. For today's video, we are going to be doing a science experiment. I will be sending out this sheet, okay? Our science experiment is going to be on float or sink. So on this sheet, you will have a list of objects that you will be experimenting with. So here are the objects. So on the paper, it says penny. Now I couldn't find a penny, and that's okay. So I'm going to use a quarter. The next item is a pencil. Couldn't find a pencil either, so I'm going to be using a pen. The next item is an eating utensil, so I'm going to use a fork. The next one is a fruit. I found a mango. A crayon. There's a red crayon on the sheet, and if you don't have a red crayon, it's fine. It doesn't matter what color, as long as it's a crayon. And then the last thing is a paper. Okay, now you want your paper to be the smaller than your container. Okay, so this is my container. And as you can see, I filled it halfway with water. And what I'm going to do before I start putting my objects into my container is I'm going to predict. Now, do you remember what predict means? We talked about this. We did this experiment early in the beginning of the year. But I thought it'd be nice for us to revisit and do it again using items we find in our home. So what does predict mean? Right, it means to take an educated guess. It means to think about what you know and make a guess that makes sense. So why do things sink? Right, maybe because of their weight, how much they weigh. If they're heavy, they'll go to the bottom. And if they're light, they'll stay at the top. So knowing that heavy things sink and light things float, let me take an educated guess. A coin or a penny. I think, well, a penny doesn't weigh too much. So I'm going to think it floats. So what I'm going to do is using a green color marker, crayon, colored pencil, I'm going to draw a check with what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to put a check on float because I think the penny or the coin is going to float. Okay. So now I'm going to grab my coin, grabbing it from the sides. I'm going to gently place it on top of the water. Okay. And I'm going to let it go. Oh, that went all the way to the bottom. So was my prediction correct? Nope. My prediction was not correct. I said that I thought the coin was going to float, but it actually sank. So now I'm going to go back to my paper and using a red color, I'm going to put a circle with what really happened. So I put a check where I thought was going to be the result of the object, and then I'll put a circle with what really happened. So I thought it was going to float, but it actually sank. Okay? And you're going to do the same thing for all of your items on the list. And then I gave you a second list, a second sheet. And on this sheet, there's no items. What I want you to do with this second sheet is I want you to find items in your home. It could be any items you have, as long as they fit inside the container. Okay? So, for example, I found a plastic spoon, a plastic straw, a paintbrush, and the lid to a jar of jelly. So what you're going to do is once you have your items, you're going to draw a little picture. Okay? So I'm going to draw my jar lid, which is just a circle. And then I have my paintbrush. So I'm going to draw my paintbrush. I have my spoon. I'm going to draw a spoon. Let's see if Ms. Martinez can draw a spoon. Okay. And my straw. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use green to predict what I think will happen. And then I'll use red to show what really happened. Okay? So let's try with my lid. I think my lid is going to sink. So I'm going to use my green color. I'm going to put a check under sink. Okay, I'm going to get my red ready to see what happens. Then I'm going to put my lid gently touching the water. And look at that. My prediction was not correct. The lid actually floats. So I'm going to take my red and I'm going to draw a circle under float. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other items, okay? So we'll see what happens with all of these. I can't wait to see your pictures to see what other items you found around your home that you used as your experiment. Have fun, friends.